Hello, everyone. Richard Carlton. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm here with Margaret and Christian Schmitz from Monkeybread. So, welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training at fmtrain.tv. So, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to visit a couple minor things. I got the Discordians here. Welcome, Discordians from Planet Discord. You are welcome. I am back after a week of being at school. It was very exciting. Let me go to my, this is coming up for today. So today is going to be, if I press the button, today is going to be on Christian Schmitz open Q&A, kind of end year in review with Monkeybread. Really great product. They have some interesting blog action going on. I think it's safe for work blogs. I don't think it's like Ruben unsafe for work blogs, but we're going to cover some of that and open Q&A along the way. So, and I wanted to make sure to bring up a couple things here. So first off, I'm going to come over here and then I'm just going to cover the perfunctory FM training. So if you go to fmtraining.tv, so you can see right here, this is our website where we cover all the training materials. We have the upcoming broadcast schedule. I want to point out, you press the button right here, live training. And what we have is that coming up, there's not going to be a big gap where we're not doing training for about a week and a half. So we'll get through Christmas, and then the first or second of the year, then we picked it up around the third. So there's a little bit of a break in the action. I don't have any news on Claris or what they're up to. They were kind of rummaging around trying to figure out if they were going to ship an update before the end of the year with some stuff in it. I don't know that that's going to happen. I remember the PM talking in a meeting about 4 weeks ago, thinking they should try to do it, but I thought it was sketchy because engineering was going like, when you're like, hey, let's roll this new car out there, and all the factory workers are going ixnay on the ship, right? So not sure where that's going, but if anything happens, we will definitely update you. So today is open Q&A. Tomorrow, Nick will be here for 3 days. Talk to Nick. I got to get an update with him, but he seems to be doing very, very well. So Christian Schmitz here today. Now, real quick, I've get Jacob Taylor going there. We have some evolving news that Jacob kind of jumped into a meeting this morning. Apparently, Microsoft, they announced this in the summer, and I missed it. Christian Schmitz, do you know anything about Microsoft shipping a version of Edge that will completely deprecate backwards compatibility forevermore with IE 11? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, they want to get rid of the Internet Explorer app. So
yeah. Well,
you don't have anymore something to double click to launch Internet Explorer, and they will ask you to use Edge with the Internet Explorer mode.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think they're trying to get rid of the IE libraries entirely, is my understanding, in February.
Yeah, well, I read on news that they plan to have the component used by FileMaker for the web viewer a little bit longer. So okay, your FileMaker 18, 17 may still work a few more years, but eventually
they will work. But the issue is if you're using web viewers with IE 11 specific stuff, that stuff may quit working in February, right? So it's that's Jacob's take on it, and so we're running around in circles trying to make sure that if that's the case, we let people know that if you're on either 19.2 and previous or at 19.2, whatever it is, somewhere in there is the line that uses the new Edge libraries in the web viewer, and the fact that IE 11 goes away. But some people are still using older versions of FileMaker. Some of you, like a customer using 19 or 19.1, and maybe the web viewer is using IE 11 based libraries. Like if I do a signature thing or whatever I'm doing, or some sort of image thing in the web viewer, if it's underlying dependent upon IE 11, Internet Explorer 11 libraries, there's a good chance that stuff's going to break in February. So it's causing a little bit of a panic with Jacob. So he says he missed the notification and he found out about it. So I'll get clarification on that. But there might be some customers with some potential breakage of stuff in February if they're running really old versions of really old, 3 or 4 versions of FileMaker. And their libraries for the web viewers have never been updated, which, people use stuff that's 10 years old and still works, so why change it? So that is a hot breaking news. I will put that into a newsletter and get that out the door when I have more color on that. So we got that going on. You got Claris trying to work on freemium. It's not a secret. They haven't shipped it. If they ship it right now, there won't be anyone around to answer questions about it. And if they do something really stupid, people will be up in arms about it. This is freemium just for the developer community, for them to kind of try it out. Is phase one. There's a later phase down the road. Well, I think well into next year. I don't know when next year, but obviously not immediately, where it'll be available on the Apple Store for free and other places like that. That's a big deal. We will be doing a second hour of training on that on a day-to-day basis when that happens. So we'll be doing live streams on that too. So that'll be decidedly for very beginning people, right? People who just download free for the first time, they need a little hand holding. So that's the plan on that. So we've covered the news, we've covered the live streams. Oh, as a reminder, so on the bundles, we have this really great training courses that we have that are kind of up here in the corner. Products, I guess. These are all the courses that we have, or individual courses. We don't sell courses individually anymore. What you can do is buy a 1-year subscription at a time, or you can get a 2-year if you want, which includes the training. The training has been in a FileMaker video player. We are moving that to a website. It works really good. So staff is a little bit overwhelmed. They're going to try to get to it next week, but the idea is that it's a lot more responsive, a lot more reliable. And, just with FileMaker, there's millions of versions of FileMaker out there. That's a bit excessive. There are hundreds of versions of FileMaker out there. I will say that very easily. Bug releases, bug fixes, different operating systems, variations, and making sure they always work is hard, but a browser is a little bit easier just from the idea of click on a video, play the video, read the notes, that kind of thing. So we're going to be switching to a system that Jacob and Haley built. Quite good. So that's coming up. That'll improve that. But if you want to get great training along the way, I highly recommend that you check out, in addition to buying Monkeybread, which is a great product, this is how you support the channel. I don't ask for a donation on Patreon. I'm asking you to buy training. Whether you watch it or not, that's up to you, but buy the training, help support the channel, keep your subscription going. That's how we afford to do all this stuff. It's very, very, very important. Christian Schmitz is here, so let me wind this up a little bit and tee it off. It's one thing if a sales guy comes on the show and says, buy my shit, it's amazing, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say monkeybreadsoftware.de, okay? Let me tell you about Monkeybread real quick. So Monkeybread, there's about 3 vendors in the FileMaker community that I work with closely. When I say vendors, I mean they make plugins. Not productive. Well, they've got some stuff too, but in the case I'm thinking of 360works primarily and Monkeybread Software, the 2 that I work with the most. And these guys work hard on a product. They make a fantastic product. They come on the show frequently to help support the channel, help support you folks, answer questions. These products, if you find a bug, they will fix them in rapid order. Christian Schmitz, he says he has a daughter and a wife and a family and a life. That's all bullshit. He doesn't have any of that. He works 24/7, 365, making updates to Monkeybread software. This product has been product of the year in the FileMaker world numerous times, at least twice, probably more than that. RCC has a license for it. We use it. It's cheap. Salespeople always hate the word that say cheap. They say it's amazing software that's amazingly inexpensive. Okay, that's great bullshit. It's cheap. It's inexpensive to run, and the software kicks. When I say cheap, I don't mean it sucks quality. I mean it's fantastic quality. It's not going to empty your wallet completely dry, right? Which is the whole idea, right? Really inexpensive. So it does like 7,000 different things in it. So today is kind of a update, an open Q&A. We're going to take your questions here in about 28 seconds. We got people on Twitch, YouTube, and Discord all live. Margaret's playing air traffic control operators. Margaret, operators, are you standing by?
Yes.
Operators are standing by. It used to be a thing on TV. Call 1-800-MARGARET-HELP. And operators are standing by. We'll take your credit card and get you your Ginsu knives out the door. If you don't know what a Ginsu knife is, you're not 50 years old or older. So Monkeybread is a plugin. It does like 7,000 things. It manipulates images. It controls things. It can control hardware. It can do SQL stuff for you. It can do Mongo stuff for you. It can do all sorts of advanced stuff. It can change the colors. It does stuff as simple as, I don't know if it's installed on here. Let me see if it's installed on my 1961. It does, like, it has like a free mode. It has free. So you don't have to pay money to get the basics out of it. So if I go over here to FileMaker, I go to Preferences, and I go over to Plugins. It is running over here. So here it is. I have 12.1. I'm sure it's out of date, probably from a year ago or something like that. But if I open a file here, like I open the training file. This is where we manage the production training videos, right? And say I want to go into scripts. I love this one feature right here. This is so fantastic. So I come down here and I'm looking at some code and I'm like, oh, this code is hard to read. I'm getting old. I'm blind like a seeing-eye dog. You come over here and you hit the little button and you zoom in on the size of the code so you can read it. It's minor. It's minor. This should be built in the product. It's not built in the product. If you want to read code and understand it, you need Monkeybread to do this for you. It does have a minor issue where the numbers are out of alignment. Did that ever fix, or is it just going to be out of alignment forever because of Claris?
Oh, well, it's probably too much work to fix.
Too much work to fix. So,
but you can still click it. So you can click to set a breakpoint.
Okay.
Yeah, the breakpoint will be at the position where you click, but not showing there.
You want the numbers to line up, you have to hit the equal button up here, and it resets back to kind of normal, if that makes sense. But the idea here is that you can zoom in on your code. You can have a calculation. You zoom on it real big. It's really wonderful. If I come over here, I'm just going to do this last one. So you got this calculation, and you have, this and this and this and this and this, and then you got some returns, and you got this and this and this and this and this and this, and you're like, what the hell is all this? You're like, okay, let's make it bigger. Where's the upsize? I want to upsize.
It's in the preference dialog.
Preference dialog. Where's that at?
You have to close the window first.
Oh no!
Cancel.
It's never gonna compile that. All right, so I go to preferences, I go to plugins, I go plugin, I say configure, that's preferences.
So I know there's a field minimum font size, and there's a field where you see.
I thought it was at the bottom. Is it the bottom?
Yeah,
there's minimum. There
and
you
then
go.
Put in a 20 or so.
Yeah, like 20. Apply. Okay. Then I come back over here. Yeah, look how big this is. This is great, right? This is wonderful. I love this. I love it. Just for that, it's wonderful. And then you can also do searches. It has a little search function up here. Find all the references to Labo 404, like the missing dog, right? So really great. So that is your upfront pump on this product. For those of you who know about this product, I'm sorry I wasted your time. But for those of you who are seeing this video for the first time, this is good. It really is, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're going to switch command to, I've already done the sales job for you, so you don't have to sell them on it. You can show your screen and like walk us through this. Yes. Yeah, that's me, Ruben. Thank you very much.
So
damn.
Here are my top list of new features for this year.
Let me help upvote this. This will be the first one will be important someday. The second one is important probably sooner. The photo picker, that might be interesting. Search box relationship for Windows, that's huge. Code folding in workspace. You'll have to show us that.
That was the if and else's, I think, that collapsed.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to show us that. So some of these are like the top one I think you did just to keep Claris happy, so they still love you. I think there's like 2 people in the entire world that are using the Claris platform the way that Claris hopes they do. So might be more than 2. It's definitely less than 20, that's for sure.
So let's just add a loop, an if, another loop. And now you see here, we can collapse it. And that's code folding.
That is amazing. Oops. That is so great.
Yeah, you have to have several lines. So, but if I go here, I can know. And we changed it recently. So if you have else blocks, you can now just block them individually.
This is good. This is good stuff. All right, cool.
Oops.
All right. Well, that's really, is this free or is this not free? Is this part of
No, this is free. It's just for installing the plugin. You get this little benefit.
Oh my gosh. So it's totally free. Every one of you should have this installed.
Actually, if you use one of the 6,900 functions, you will need to pay eventually. Mm-hmm. And I hope we have another DEF CON next year and we can make a 7,000 functions party.
That would be cool.
Okay. Anyone likes?
I asked the person in charge of DEF CON. She was not optimistic as the way I would phrase that phraseology. She was not optimistic, but yes. Because they got to book it. It should be already booked and scheduled if we were doing it, right?
Yeah, basically it should be scheduled 6 months in advance.
Oh, at least, because a lot of people make plans for that's like going to take like for you. Most of us will take a week to do that. It's a whole week out of our lives. So Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Questions. Jim says, what is really cool? Just kidding, Jim. It is very cool. Do you have questions about, you want to see some of these things? This stuff is amazingly great. It really is.
So maybe let me just show you variable autocompletion.
Till someone squeals. Margaret, if we have anyone on Twitch, let us know, or YouTube.
We have yeah, we got YouTube and Twitch. Dave White asked a question, but he didn't specify. Is that on Mac or Mac only, or also Windows?
No.
I think he's talking about the collapse.
This is for Mac. The only thing we have for Windows currently is a search box for the relationships.
You support Claris Pro in Windows, right? On these things up here. Okay, so what's Mac only on this list here? Let's do that real quick. If we don't specify, then we'll assume it's both, right?
Yeah.
So that's the top one's both, the second one's both, the third one's both. There you go. Just do that. There you go. Okay, how's that help? Help everyone with that? So 1 for Windows, and then 3 for. Is a search box only in Windows, or is it on Mac too, or is that both? Is that all?
Plus Mac.
Okay, so that's both. Okay.
So like if you go and the window here and click relationships, and for Mac you have a little box here, and you can type something. And
oh, that's so good. That's so good. People have been whining about adding this to the product for a long time. Just let Claris do the big stuff, and let Christian. They ought to you have to QA this stuff, but boy, I tell you. All right, Ruben says it's a very nice feature, but it's not clear to me that the pieces collapse. I see the arrow, but it's too light for me. So Ruben probably wants a pair of blinking appendages or something on there to blink, so right?
Well, I thought that don't make it too shiny. So it's
too shiny.
It's there. You just click it. So let me show autocompletion. So I type $ and I get suggestions on which variable names to use. And this can be very handy. Also MBS functions, perform, or let me files, copy file, and you see here source files.
Okay, back up, but FileMaker does some autocomplete, right? So
yeah, for their own functions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's so. If you see it with the little, okay, go back that real quick. And then let me draw. Where's the? Hang on. Where's the? So if I see the window specifically, this piece down here, that's a FileMaker or a native Claris dialog. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then if we see yours, go to one of yours, it won't have the little part at the bottom. Like that. This is the Monkeybread one. Okay, so it's and also on the variables too, right? You did the variables, which are great. Go back to that one. So this shows you the variables that you've defined, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Already
it
defined.
Scans the script to find all the variables before.
So it won't show you like a global that was defined previously in other script, or will it do that?
It will do because we cache the global. So let me define here a global.
Something. Yeah, Richard. Okay.
And now let's use it. So now we scan the script. We know there's some
so that's the one from this, and then that's the one from the previous. Oh, yeah. That's very nice.
So we cache the globals we saw before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we also allow you to use let variables. So
Stu's clapping for you. Autocomplete for variables and the inline links for help. Yeah, he's loving this. Stu's
let me use underscore. And you see it finds the underscore variables as well as the $ ones. And you can also use send. You see the type C. So you see it's C's. And title. Title is the other one. Best. So if I type title,
okay.
I get the list. So send title underscore.
By the way, that's a certification test question for those of you trying to take the certification test. Oh, by the way, speaking of certification tests, I haven't anyone who has initially taken the certification test 2 years ago, it only lasts for 2 years. We are all about to be decertified by Claris, right? So our certifications will elapse and there is no replacement exam for us. I hit the guy up at Claris headquarters who's in charge of this. His name will be his guilty name will be withheld, but he's supposed to work on this test and get it done or whatever he is. And I asked him, I said, are you going to decertify me? Because that would be really cool. He goes, yeah, I'll decertify you anytime, Richard. I said, well, it happens automatically in December. I might already be, I might even be certified anymore. So okay. I'm trying not to make him feel too uncomfortable, but anytime I tell you that Claris has got a lot to do and they don't quite have all the staff they need to do it, true statement. I'm not picking on anyone, just the way it is.
Well, just make the test again. Same test.
Okay.
The question.
Guess what? I signed up to take it again, and it said, I'm sorry, Richard, you've already taken it and passed it because you're such a bad but you can't take it again. So I emailed them and said, hey, I can't take it again. Well, it'd be kind of a waste for you to take it again, except that I'm going to be decertified, which I am decertified. So I have to do a new opener, Margaret. Recently decertified. Not welcome at Claris anymore. Right?
Yes. Okay. So is it possible on Mac to copy several relationships between files?
Oh, well, that would be a feature from Claris. So if Claris FileMaker can do that. No, I can't copy. I can't copy if I select more than one. No. There's no copy.
No. This is where, okay, so this gets, for those, some of you asking about this, gets back to another conversation we had about 4 weeks ago with Claris. They've been working on this serialization function for the product. The serialization function is the idea where we export the file and out comes, all it is a bunch of very precise XML. Remember we talked about the emergency Star Trek transporter. There were times to use that. The problem is when you, it's like, I'm going to make a Star Trek reference and you understand what I'm saying. Star Trek, you get on the transporter pad, it turns you into little molecules or atoms, whatever, and it shoots you across the air. As a text file, you end up somewhere else, and it rematerializes the text file. That's literally what a transporter is. And whenever bad shit happens, it's because some of those bits of data get lost. Well, Claris has been building this capability to export all of your solution, every last bit of your solution, out to a XML text file, beam it from point A to point B, then you can recompile it or bring it back in. And the engineering has been trying to get it done, and they're meeting resistance. I'm not sure why. Because if you could do this, then you could take any piece of your file A and glue it into file B as long as you glued it in the right place, right? Because all it is text. And so, for example, right now there's, it's about 95% complete, but that last 5%, if I told Ruben, hey, I'm going to beam you from point A to point B and you get to keep 95% of your fingers and toes, Ruben's going to be like that, okay? He doesn't want to be missing a finger. Now, if Ruben, you're about to die, seriously, you're about to die in a horrible car crash. I can beam you out of your car. You get 95% of your fingers. Ruben would be like, okay, I'll go with that. He would. I would. That's where we use it right now, is when losing a finger is not going to be, is better than the alternative. But they've got to finish this, and they haven't finished it yet. It's the what they call XML serialization is that's the part of where they beam it off the pad and they kick it out. So
we had a question about the difference of the copy options.
Yeah. Once you do that one, go for that. I'll read it. Can you explain this is from Stu. Can you explain the different copy options in the script workspace? I can never remember whether I should copy content, or copy selection, etc. It's a really good question, Stu.
So let me just prepare here a little script. So we have something to copy. So if I use just the copy button here, I get back the script with styles. Okay. Now, if I press the Option key and click here, I get back, we make a new file in plain text. So I get the HTML. So this is Option plus copy button, and this is just the copy button. Now, if I have something selected, I may want to do just copy content, which is the same as which just copies the text from this list here, and that works in all the lists in FileMaker. Like you can just go and copy here, copy content, gives you the list of fields. Just copy the text.
I forgot this was a thing, Stu. This is great.
And then we have copy the selection, and as you may guess, it just copies the current line.
Wow.
Or here, copy selection, 4 lines. So copy value would look at which cell you actually clicked, and just copy this part here. And yeah, with this, I think that's all our copy options. So if I just need 3 lines, I use here copy selection. And if I need color, I use our copy button because it does a color thing. And this copying any list here is very useful. I mean, if you just need to go and maybe manage your layouts and you like to have a list of the layouts, then you can just copy them and...
Okay, I totally forgot this was a thing. You have so many 7,000 things in your product. I forget all the things that are in here. I really do.
Well, you have to see, it's just, this is a standard table control from Apple. Yeah. We extend this control, and wherever FileMaker uses it, you can use our context menu.
Yeah.
So you can find duplicate names if you like. You can show the find bar, and we have our own search feature here, in addition to what FileMaker has. You can sort things. So let's see a sort. So you can sort your layouts alphabetically if you like.
Is that, okay, back up. Is that now saved with that?
Yeah, sure.
Whoa.
We can also, I think, what is it?
Oh, man, my head hurts. I'm really glad you come on the show because, you know, here's the thing. I am trained after using the product for years, right? That this is a non-flexible pile, right?
Yeah.
And you're like sorting it and doing and copying and doing this and doing that. And I have actually been trained. It's like a mouse in the maze. I've been trained that the maze is only a certain way and it doesn't change.
So I can collapse, I can expand. So, and if I want to know how many I have, I can always look here on the bottom, 5 of 9.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So Stu had a follow-up question. Is there a way to copy text, i.e. from a blog that from a blog that lists all the script steps and paste it into a script workspace as scripts? Ew. He's thinking about taking the text out of some other place, repository, and then pasting
that's
it.
Something you have to ask Russell, because one of his tools does translating text to XML, and you can paste that.
Okay, stop. You have to ask who? Who we
Russell.
talking?
Russell Watson.
Russell Watson. Okay, Russell Watson. Okay, that's Dr. Watson, right, Mark?
Dr. Watson, yeah.
Oh, it's doctor. It's doctor to us. I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, so those tools are very useful. I mean, let's say you are custom functions and you have a list of custom functions and you like to copy them. You can just, again, copy things. And so it works in all the lists.
Yeah, I'm too old too, Stu.
Okay. Maybe talk about something else.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, we could talk about your competitors' products, I guess. I think we should still talk about... Oh, Dave, Margaret, go. Ask the question.
Would XML make your solutions less secure, though? Could people steal your work?
Well, if you... just show this real quick in FileMaker. Go to FileMaker in your computer and pop a solution, and then go to it's under, where's it at? Under Tools. Where's that at? Yeah, save as XML. This is the Star Trek transporter beaming this file into a text file. You could restrict that. This is actually that solution. 95% of the solution, right? Missing random fingers and shit, right?
Oh. There's a password.
Yeah, but it marks it as insecure. It doesn't give you the actual I don't think that's the hash, is it, for the password? Is that the hash? I can't see that being the hash.
I would expect this could be the hash because this is base 64 encoded. So
yeah, the reality is that you would now if you turn on the security, I think that's only available if you're an admin, right? But yeah, I think that's part of the issue is if the file's hosted and you're the admin and you ran that, it's its ability to, fundamentally, when we have a solution that's on the server, we can't just get a copy of the solution through FileMaker menus or scripts. You have to go to the server, make a backup, take the backup, shut it down, move it, do something like that. This bypasses all that, right? Theoretically. So there is some, listen, they've been thinking about this since FileMaker 17 or 16. If not earlier than that. I know that they were thinking about it in FileMaker 16. That's only damn near 8 or 9, 10 years. They have had to have figured this out by now. It's just not a priority. But this would be a huge, huge deal, right? So,
yeah. So if you have the login as admin, you can export everything. You can copy everything.
Yeah. But if you're an admin, you already have the keys to destroy, right? Pretty much. For the most part, you go in there and mess it all up and steal all the content out. So, the admin, I think, has to be a fundamentally trusted person. And I think that's kind of this different way of thinking. I don't know. Claris probably has to think about this. All right. Christian from...
yeah, he wants nicer arrows. I see. The limit of our copy option is that you can't copy everything. We can only copy visible text. So let me type some really long text. So you see how the counter above is counting how many characters I have.
Yeah.
So let's see, we are now over 300. Let's save. Let's copy. Let's paste. So here you see it.
Yeah, it's truncated right there.
It's truncating the text, so we can only search or copy what's there. So usually that means if I want to make a blog post, I will actually have to manually copy it and then edit it in.
Yeah.
So I have all the things in my blog posts.
Interesting. That's a really good question. Who was that from? That was
Alex Spring-Connell, I think.
Alex. Yeah, Alex. Good job, Alex Spring-Connell. Okay, Alex. Good job. You get a gold star for that one. That's a good one. I guess Ruben said, Christian, check the arrow in the XML for collapsing. Check the arrow in the XML editor for collapsing. That's what I mean.
Yeah, he wants a nicer arrow. Yeah. I see.
He wants a better, nicer arrow. Yeah, he's awful demanding. That's how Ruben is, though. All right, cool. Let's see. Yeah, Dave Graham points out that FM Workmate. Margaret, if you want to cross-post some of this stuff like that one. He says it's a perfect companion product to the MBS plugin. So it's fmworkmate.com, which is Dr. Watson.
And then we've got a question from Shiegel. In database relationships, I find it is hard to go to the right instance sometimes if the names are too similar. Is there a way to cycle through the different instances of the relationships found?
Yeah, let me set. So let me say you have several of them. So you can type assignments and then press return, go again, Command F. So I press Command F and then I press return to jump to the next one.
Dave Graham, I'm looking at your question. I'm thinking about that. That's an interesting question. Keep going, Christian. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Command F and return to cycle. Okay. So let's close this. Do we have another question?
Is it possible to support autocomplete for variables defined in the insert text script step?
In the text, let's see. So in the text, so where
it's a text string, right? So it's, you like in
testing there? So I'm not sure if we pick that up. So we have a few insert things on the list, but yeah, testing here, it shows up.
That worked out. Is that what you're talking about? Was that David Graham or who was that? That was, no, who was that? Oh, that was David, yeah. David, is that the question?
So testing shows up.
I think he means DD part, yeah. In the block of the text. Yeah. So
no, this is just text. So even if you have a dollar there, so that's not a variable definition.
okay, so David, you understand that if we define it just in a block of text, that's just like text, it's not going to be there. If you define it down in that little variable spot, then it picks it up, right? So
yeah, and Dave just wrote that you can use Command G to continue search, which I forgot.
yeah, normally it's Command F and then Command G, right? And then if you do apps like that,
yeah, so I
yeah,
can
there you go,
just
Command G, yeah. Yeah, this is, this is so funny. We should be talking about advanced database stuff. We're talking about some pretty minimal, what we call quality of life issues in the product, right? Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, quality.
Well, I offered Claris to just sit together with the engineers and we could work on getting a few of the features built in. A lot of my features would be much better if they would be built in because Claris can see all the data and
yeah,
they could copy the whole line here.
Yeah, they could copy the whole line because we can't do that.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
So I wrote a blog post.
Yeah, let's talk about your blog post.
So if you have a need to run JavaScript directly, you can, for example, use our WebView evaluate function and just put in the JavaScript and get back the result. There's no need to trigger a script to do something asynchronously. You can just tell it, here's the JavaScript, give me back the result. And this may take a while for people to realize, but you can have a script which queries various expressions from a web viewer within a few lines of scripts. So you can just do calculations, you can query fields, and you don't need to do any asynchronously script triggering. Okay.
Hopefully that answers that question.
So then we have in the blog, we have a series of blog posts from Stephanie about using graphics magic to do various graphics effects. And we are on day 19 today, 19 of 24. And every day you can learn a little bit about doing graphics operations. Like article 19 is about EXIF metadata. Article 18 was about image modulation, like changing the brightness, the saturation. And 17 was about changing colors. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can just take a walk through all the blog articles and learn a lot about what you can do with graphics and FileMaker here. Sharpen an image.
Oh, really? You could sharpen?
Yeah, and we can blur it.
Wow.
And we can swirl it here. This makes an oil painting effect. And then we add noise here. Sometimes you need some noise. And then here we have one to write some text on the image. You see with a little rotation and different colors for the edges and the filling. So if you have a need to send Christmas cards and you need the text be different for every email you send, you can make individual pictures with a script.
All right, so Dave Graham has a feature request for you in the question. He's looking, I use FM Automate, so he uses Dr. Watson's product defined again in the script workspace. Would you consider supporting that natively? I can't tell you how many times I press Command G to find again, and it goes to the line number dialog.
Yeah, go to, yeah. Oh, that's...
Yeah, Command G is normally the next in your search, right?
Yeah, so you have to press Command F and then return. That still works, but G is for the other dialog. Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if I piss off people if I change.
I was about to say, how many people are dependent upon that actual behavior like that? That's a Christian. You and I, my brains went the same place. How many people are going to get excited about that? I don't know the answer to that. How many of you here? How many of you use Command G to go up here to the little up here? How many of you do that? I mean, it's a small sample size. And if you do, you're not in trouble. I'm just trying to figure out if we take something away, are we going to get a bunch of squealing? Command Control G and automate. I think jumps to is that jump to the line number then, Dave? Then that product?
Yeah, that's Command G, and you type the number and you press return. You don't need to look. You just jump to the line number.
Yeah, you might want to do
just Command F and return. Just 2 keys, no problem.
Except that it's counter to the other products, the way other searches work in other products. So it's kind of your own non-standard standard. So, yeah, I don't know. You'd have to. All right. Well, Dave is not letting go of this, so he's telling you to fix it, or he'll never let you ever again. So, well, I don't have to tell you. Hard decisions have to be made.
Yeah, probably. If we do it, we will have to make a checkbox at the preferences.
Oh, to put it back the old way.
Yeah, you know, whenever I do something, I need to add a checkbox here so people can turn it off. And I've seen customers who have everything turned off here.
Oh, wow.
Like, I love to have a bigger font. Here, you can actually change the font size in the script workspace and still keep the line numbers here correctly. You see, I have here 15 and...
Oh, show that again. Back to that. Where's that at? Minimum.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, no, so if you match, well, yeah, you have to do that. Then you adjust over here, and it would. Oh, okay.
So I can pick a nice font. What's a good font for maybe programming? I don't know.
Yeah,
tons of fonts
obnoxious, horrible, like that one right below there, that scripty one. Just something horrible.
Pick a okay, like. I don't know here.
Yeah, like Zap Chancery. There we go.
Okay, so we quit and we launch it again.
Oh, okay.
That's mandatory. Yeah.
It's mandatory. You have to say it like that. Mandatory. He doesn't do English very great. Wow, look at that. Okay, how to screw up your FileMaker. Mandatory that you do that.
Mandatory. Yeah.
All right, cool. You guys are pretty awesome. Great.
So, do we have more questions?
Yeah, we're kind of on approach. This is your captain speaking. We're on approach.
We do have some more questions, though, real fast. Can you blur backgrounds?
When you do graphics magic, what can you blur backgrounds?
And can you get flashing text?
Well, for flashing text, you can always use a web viewer or play a GIF animation.
Animate GIF, yeah.
Yeah, GIF. You can also just have several pictures, one with one color, one with other color, and switch between pictures, of course. With the blur function, you would blur the whole picture, but of course you could always decide to, let's say, copy some parts of the picture out. Like we have sometimes examples using several pictures. Like we take the picture and we modify something, like then we maybe take a new picture, draw a mask there. Like there was this example for making round pictures. Graphics, magic, circle. Yeah, circle cropping, like this one. So we create a picture for the mask, and then we apply the mask to the picture. And so you could take a mask, then you could take the part of the picture which is in this circle and don't blur that, but blur the other part and then draw the original one in the circle above the blurred one. And so you would only blur the outer area. So you could build something, yeah. But when you call the blur function, it's just blur everything in the current picture. Let's talk about something else, like if someone likes to have a curl function. This here has a let statement. A let statement with doing a curl transaction as a calculation. So you don't need a script to do a HTTP request. You can just do it in one calculation wherever you need it. So some people may see the value for this. And here's an FTP upload as one calculation.
Wow.
So no script needed. You can just put it somewhere in a set variable if you like, or anywhere you need a calculation. Oh, and by the way, let me show you a new example I made for clients. So I had a client complaining that FileMaker shows this URL transfer dialog. Mm-hmm. And the special thing here is the plugin moves it down here. So there's a plugin function.
Okay.
So we have a plugin function to position the next dialog shown by FileMaker.
Ah, -10.
Yeah, you just put it on the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
And this way you can move away the dialog if you don't need it.
What about like a summary dialog, like sorted?
Any dialog.
Really? Mac and Windows or just Mac?
Mac and Windows. I just fixed it for client to make it work on Windows. And the special thing is, as we move the dialog on the bottom left here, actually on Windows, it is down here and it's behind the taskbar. So you don't see it at all.
Right.
And the user, of course, shows a nice layout for the script to show we are uploading your files. And then this transfer dialog
suppressing Claris dialogues. That's a whole new another live stream. We just shoved it in like 2 minutes in this one, but that's almost its own live stream. That's interesting.
Yeah. So let's see, what else do I have here? So we can trigger scripts with a webhook.
Oh, that's right, with the webhook.
Yeah, but now we are using the webhook to have one FileMaker talk to another FileMaker.
Oh, that was perform. We call that PSOC, perform script on client, PSOC. That was what we called that as an acronym. We have PSOC, perform script on server. How about perform script on client, telling another client or someone to run a script? Yes.
So the idea would be that your FileMaker client would start a webhook and then store here the IP to use and the port number, which is in this case randomly picked in a table. So you have a list of all the FileMaker pros running currently and their port number and IP. And whenever you like to trigger something, you can here say run the script. Now the script is running, and here my test script is called in the other FileMaker, and I can click OK, and I get back an answer.
Okay, so people are getting all lathered up now. So Ken says, and whenever someone says something like this, I think about it beyond that. Ken goes, I'm going to have to learn and implement webhooks in the new year. So I'll be watching previous webhook videos and a lot, I think. Yeah. And that gets back, when someone says that, like when everyone says one thing, maybe it's an outlier, but when several people say, I'm interested in webhooks. Remember, Nick would do the beepy button thing, like beep or whatever, right? Yeah. Buzz, right? Then we get people doing that. Then we add that as a topic, and so we come back and revisit that more. Yeah.
So we could make a whole session about how this works.
Oh, I only have 2 votes right now, so I don't know that we're going to do that. I don't think.
Okay. Trigger script from one FileMaker to another with a webhook. Okay, what else do we have?
Buzzing. No buzzes. Oh, well, that's 3 now. I have 3.
If you need to learn more, we have a blog article about it. Okay, maybe I write a chat application or so.
Well, we could build one for you, but it needs to be a little bit so people can understand the practical application. Like, where would you use this? Where would you do this? Right. So.
Yeah, the cool thing with the webhook was that you can trigger it from FileMaker Go. So you could have a FileMaker Pro do something, and you could trigger it from a FileMaker Go if you like, or from another FileMaker Pro.
Yeah. So
the question is always what to do. I mean,
Well, we just need we need one good use case is what we need, right? So one good use case. Ruben says Brad Freitag also wants to see the webhook thing. Well, if the CEO Claris says he wants to see it, then it's on the schedule. So that's done. All right, you got it, Ruben. Thanks for that. Yeah, so you need to think about a day or two. Christian, if you want to get back with me, if you have want a sample file build, I have one of my juniors build it. So something, and then you just add it in or glue it in or whatever we do. If it needs to be 2 days, take 2 days on it. If it needs to be 2 days. We want to go slow and take your time and make sure people understand what they're doing. Well, in this case, webhooks, okay, webhook is a really loose term, right? So, like web API stuff, Ken, right?
So my plugin is to listen to a webhook usually in the local network, like the trigger from a phone system. So you know that a call is coming in. It's not written to run a web service from it. So please don't do hundreds of calls per second. That wouldn't work.
Didn't you have a demo where you were doing that? You were running you had your own, this goes back a couple, 2-3 months. Weren't you doing your own?
Yeah, we had this. We have this little Bluetooth device with a button where you would press a button and then would trigger a script. And the plugin queues up those requests and allows you to process them in a script. And I would just mention people that you can use that in your local network. You could make it available via VPN to people from outside. You should not put the plugin on the internet for this, because there may be so many requests coming in. The plugin may be busy dealing with a lot of
well, you had your plugin could be an API listener, right? As opposed to DAPI. DAPI is the data API built into FileMaker server, but you could do that in a lightweight fashion with your plugin, right? You could handle 5 or 10 requests per minute pretty easily.
Yeah, of course.
Probably more than that, probably 100 in a minute, but figure no more than 1 a second, right?
The key is usually if you want to have a webhook, for example, like an external service.
Yeah.
Like you may get 100 requests per day or 100,000 per day, and you may want to have some stable API like PHP or some Python scripts to take it and then pass it to FileMaker.
Yeah, so we're talking about different, the same idea conceptually, but the scale at which you deploy it would be different. I think not so much the hardware integration, but we should go back and talk about using your plugin as a lightweight data source hook on the internet. Using your plugin as a lightweight, not thousands per day, but if you had 20, 30, 100, 200 a day, that would be good. I think that would be
well, thousands per day may work. If it all depends on how many are coming at the same second.
The same second, and then what is the backside? Is there like a
so
script?
The plugin has there's a queue for incoming connections. So you may specify in the script on initialization. You may define how long the queue can be, like 2, 3, 4, 5 waiting. Then you once the connection is accepted, we collect it and we trigger a script, but you can only trigger a certain number of scripts per second in FileMaker because your scripts take time. And we have to wait for triggering the next script until the old one is finished. So it depends more on how long your script takes to process each request.
Well, why don't we plan on that, maybe a 2-day deal on doing that, and then having it focus on the Monkeybread product. Once again, lightweight, because this also would allow us to make calls from one client to another client to tell it to do something. There's a couple different ways of doing this, but if they're on the same network, a lot of people are not on the same network, in which case we have to figure out, you'd have to do it differently. You'd have to just make a note on a record or something, Christian, or how would you signal from one client to another client on different networks?
Could you? Well, you have to configure your router to allow connections from a certain IP range to go to another IP range.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I forgot zero tier. Yeah, no, zero tier is a security thing. Yeah, you could with that, Ken, with zero tier. We need to do that too as a topic. I use zero tier all the time. It's installed right here. right? So this is, I'm on accessing the public, but if I want to get to some private stuff, this cracks open the door and allows me to get into that.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you quit sharing yours and I'll share mine real quick. So this is zero tier up here. So this computer is set up with this, so I'm not gonna go through a big demo because I'm not prepared for this, but if I go to zero tier like that, and then says this company here, basically it's like a virtual private network. But it doesn't take all the traffic. It just takes the traffic that is inside the network, and it sees that it's traffic that's inside the network in it. To get to it, like I can set up a machine, like I can, without giving computers a static address, I can remote control into any of those machines that are on this network, if that makes sense. So it used to be I had to put static addresses and have holes in firewalls. This drives up, it tons of security, and also makes remote control and these other things so simple. So you get like a very low level of this stuff, like 20 or 30 machines you can interact with back and forth for cheap. And then for like $5 a month, you get another 25 machines. It's stupidly inexpensive. It allows you to use the built-in screen sharing, and you're protected because unless you're part of this private network, you can't get into this stuff. Because these machines all have DHCP imaginary addresses behind the firewall. So this zero tier shit goes right through a firewall like a hot knife through butter, right? It's amazing. So yeah, big stuff. So we'll have to do that. There's some questions about auto. Yeah, I don't interact with Proofgeist too much. In fact, just about never. So that's not a product that's in my world to talk about. I'm not anti Proofgeist. They have their own marketing department. They do their own promotions, their own training and stuff like that. And it's something that I don't think there's.
So we could use hooks for example, to trigger a robot to do something. Mm-hmm. Like you could send a request to a robot to load maybe a website, take a screenshot, and send it back to you.
Yeah, we need to come up. So if you folks, okay, so here's the thing for webhooks. We're not doing it tomorrow. We're not doing it next week, but we'll get it scheduled. Once again, it's not really at Kyle level. I will just use him as an example. This is designed for like people, what I would consider potentially more mid-level. People are doing FileMaker for a long time, but they just don't sit and code all day, right? So I'm not going to pick on anyone. Maybe Ken, myself, I'm in this group, which you'd call an intermediate developer, power intermediate developer. Some of you are quite talented, much more so than I am. So really not so much for you, but maybe NJ, although he's pretty damn skilled. Lynn from Austin, potentially, Larry. The idea is to do webhook and make a call from point A to point B, but we're setting FileMaker up as a source. If you're trying to get FileMaker to talk to like PayPal, for example, that's just an API access. FileMaker's making an API call. I guess you could call that a webhook. But in this case, we're talking about FileMaker being the listening for inbound communication to come to it, for it to do stuff and then send something back or whatever, right? So if you have ideas about what a practical use case for that would be, shoot us an email to support RC Consulting. So we get this demo lined up so the demo is really good. It makes a lot of sense to everyone, right? Yeah, Ken says, I'm highly skilled at coming up with what I want, opposite the ability to truly implement it. Yeah, we all are learning. We never stop learning. Every week I like to learn stuff. It's all good. So Christian, you like that idea where we take some ideas, glue them to come up with a kind of some use cases?
Yeah, we could develop something live even if you like.
No, we should do it live. We should absolutely. We should kind of. It's kind of like the. It's like the cooking shows where they used to do baking and stuff. So they cook it, they put it all together, then they put it in the oven. And the cooking show doesn't want to wait 90 minutes or something for something to cook, 30 minutes for the cookies to cook. So they already have it pre-baked, right? Pre-baked. And so we do one in advance, so it's all done. Then we bake, and then when we get to the part we have to put in the oven, then we jump ahead, right? That kind of deal. So yeah. Yeah, we need a use case. So email support@RC Consulting, say Monkeybread webhook use case. A client is doing this. They need another client to do something else, and they send that. Or, I guess if you had a server, you could already do it with PSOS, right? But what if the server had to tell a client to do something? Or one client told a different client to do something, right? What are your use cases for that?
That was the idea, to have a central table on the server to know which port and IP each client has, so you can trigger something on the client from the server.
Cool. All right, so shoot us an email to support. Kyle says he's been playing webhooks for the last week. Yeah, we do webhooks with PHP, but it's kind of old school. If we were going to do webhooks currently, we do them with DAPI, Data API. We have some legacy stuff where, like, someone puts an order and they buy the training bundle through PayPal. PayPal will send a request to a listener, a webhook on our FileMaker server. That happens to be running in the on a PHP page with the XML gateway. That's old school. We do the same thing if I was building it new today. We do it with the Data API. That's part of the current version of FileMaker. But that's actually a separate conversation. Same kind of idea, Kyle, as you well know, but a separate conversation. So we have, like, the server listening is one thing. Should have a conversation about that. I don't know, Christian would be in the middle of that one, because that, I don't know, necessarily needs Monkeybread. But from client to client, clients don't normally listen. That's the thing. FileMaker server easily listens for requests, right? The Data API, the old XML gateway API, they can be listeners, right? In quotes. FileMaker Pros and Go are not listeners. They don't listen for shit. They only talk to FileMaker server. So if you want to send them a signal, literally what Monkeybread is doing is attaching a pair of ears to your local FileMaker client, so it's listening. That's what this is about. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone? Ideas, suggestions, send an email to support@RC Consulting. Tomorrow, Nick will be back. Takes us to the end of the week, and then we're going to be off for about a week and a half, taking a break. Okay. Christian Schmidt.
Yeah.
Thank you. And by the way, don't forget to support Christian Schmidt by buying his product. Buy his product. It's really
Thank you.
quite good. Go to Monkeybread over here.
And if people have ideas for new plugin functions for next year, please send me.
Yeah, because we need 7,000 plugin functions, right? Either shoot them to us and we'll forward them to Christian, or send them to Christian. Support@monkeybreadsoftware.com for that, for the email support?
de.de.
So support@monkeybreadsoftware.delta echo. Okay? Yeah. Phonetically, DE. People can send it to PE or Papa Echo. It's Delta Echo that's the German country domain, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's it. Have a good day, everyone. I'm going to hit the play music. I'll see you guys in a couple days. Tomorrow I'm going to be down in the Los Osos office a little bit, visiting those people. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!